Good morning. Today we're going to do a ride prep video. We're going to talk about the NC700X, and we're going to talk about preparing your bike for a half-day ride. Something that's pretty typical for you adventure riders out there. We're going to cover some things like packing and tires, knowing that your engine is in decent condition, all that kind of stuff. Suspension, checking your power, all the basics. Now, I go around my bike and I wiggle things, I grab things, and I make sure that things are velcroed properly and straight. I usually grab a crash bar or something and pull. These are all pretty important things, but the most important thing is to check your chain tension and your tires, because if you don't have a drive system, you're not getting home. So I check this pretty regularly. I lubricate my chain, every other day. I check my tire to make sure that it is in good condition and that it has good pressure. This is the first thing you do before a long ride. What I do is I change my tire pressure caps, the valve stem caps, to be something a little bit brighter than black. That needle hasn't hit the blue mark, so I have to get the compressor out and pump that up just a little bit. Mark your gauge so you know where the needle is when you look at it. As you get older, that might be a little bit more trickier. You saw it hit 30 and it really hit 20. So make sure you mark your gauge with a nice bright piece of tape so that you know when you're low. Perform a quick visual inspection of your chain. Make sure the tension is good. I like to know that the top of the chain is tight when I lift the chain, and the chain should just not quite kiss the bottom of the swing arm. So watch the chain pop upward on the top side. Lift the chain and make sure it's not quite touching the swing arm. And you'll know that your chain has fairly good tension. If it starts to really hang down, you should know what that is, how that looks. And then you can make a tension adjustment as necessary before your ride. Don't go out and ride with a really loose chain, especially if you're riding in the dirt, stones, bouncing around, because you will throw your chain. Make sure your kickstand's in good condition. If you have your extra bungees or rubber cords down here, these are my poly bands. Make sure they're in good shape and that your kickstand's going to spring back properly. Make sure your center stand is tied off. I like to use this big wire tie thing here that keeps it tied off. Look under your bike. Make sure there's no oil. Now, the bike hasn't been sitting here, it's been in the garage. So I know I'm not leaking, and I do check the oil level pretty regularly. So I am fine. Look for any wires or anything else that may have broken free during your last ride. Anything stuck in your bike, like a twig or a piece of grass. Something that is not where it belongs. Just a quick visual inside the nooks and crannies, because when I ride, I get things stuck in my bike. I really do. Make sure your ABS wiring is looking good, that you don't have any cracks or anything in your brake lines, because things strike that. Check them out for your fog lights. Check them out for your camera. Now this is still a little wiggly from the time I crashed. That's because this piece is not completely flat against this bar, but wiggly is okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Go around to the other side. Make sure nothing is stuck inside your motor. Look down inside your engine guard, make sure there's nothing in there. If your radiator has any new dents, you should make a note. My radiator does have a dent in it right there, so know your dents. There's a little something stuck in there, so I'm just going to pluck that out. That is a friend, a grub of some kind. And the exhaust seems to be in good condition. And then we're going to go check the condition of the tire. The front tire is in great condition. The front tire is double what the back tire is here. The depth of the front tire is the whole wrench. So I know that I have a good idea as to how deep the tread is. Valve stem cap's in good condition. We're going to check the front pressure and move on. This tire has a plug in it, and it holds air pretty good. I don't have a durometer, but I do have a way to measure my tread height. If I put this wrench against it, it's half of that wrench, or thereabouts. So that is roughly my tread height, is about half of that wrench. So it's fairly thin in the middle, not quite at the wear bars yet, but this is good for at least 2 days, maybe 3, given the way I ride. So we're in good shape. This part always breaks loose. Make sure it's locked into the right position. Make sure your shock cover is on and that it is in good condition. I keep a compressor handy so I can check the pressure on the tire and pump it up at the same time. So that's good. Nothing special there. And then we're going to go back and do the rear. I didn't have that sealed correctly. That's better. That just took 3 pumps of that, so that is correct now. If you ride like me, make sure that you have a means to check your air pressure whenever you go riding. I pack in a series of smaller packs where I can see what I have. That pack is empty. I think I'm going to move the air pressure monitoring to that one. I have some extra bolts here. I think those are for the windshield when I first tried to do it. I have some extra bolts and nuts just in case something fails, but I don't think I'm ever going to need them. I have a set of wire ties. I have a set of phone bungees. I have a tire replacement kit. I have a face mask and some extra sun block. I have a way to charge the phone. I have a way to remove body panels and a way to repair some of the tape around the bike. But you never know when you need to stick something down. So I'm going to move this and the other gauge to its own bag. The most important part of your trunk is your tire repair kit, because if your tire goes, you're not getting home. So make sure you have some bacon strips left and that they're in good condition, valve stems, a couple tools to repair the tire, and 1 tool to change the valve stem. This is really important for you multi-hour adventure riders. Always think about rain and thermal. As it gets colder out, you know, you're going to find it's going to get tougher to get home. If you get a flat and the sun goes down and you need time to repair your tire, you could freeze or get hypothermic as you're riding home. So make sure you have some wind and thermal protection with you at all times. Alright, my trunk is packed to the brim. I am good to go. Okay, we're going to grab a look-see and see how much more of the tread is gone. Now from earlier, that looked like that was halfway up that wrench, but it looks like now it's a quarter of the way up that wrench. So I'd say we lost a little bit of that tread today. Just 6 hours of riding. So there you go.